shack at. The bottle's getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon. We be pubbing.
What up, gamblers, cappers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, October 26th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It's a huge week for us here. A huge week. We have our poker tournament tonight, baby, 9 p.m. Eastern. I will be hosting the live stream, and we need you all to sign up. It is a must that you all sign up. The only way we'll get to keep doing these poker tournaments is if you all sign up. So please sign up for our Bet Online poker tournament tonight, 9 p.m. And check out our live stream right here that I will be hosting. It is a $25 buy-in. Bet Online giving us 10 tickets worth $109 each to their $250,000 guarantee tournament. That is, I believe, on Sunday. It might be on Halloween. But I think it is on the Sunday the 30th, but it is at the end of this week. So please support and please sign up or we won't be able to keep doing them. And I'll mention it again later on in the show. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. Great to see you all. Viper and B in the house. Michael Ervalina. LJ from H-Town. LJ from H-Town, thank you for being a member of Pub Sports Radio. It means a ton to us. Bo Jackson. Scarmanati. Ryan Mueller says, need to make some cash today. Well, let's do exactly that. And there's Big Daddy Boom, a.k.a. Leo. Leon says, Kraken. We are the mighty, mighty Seattle Kraken. I love it. I love it. There's Big Show Picks. He'll be in the poker tournament tonight as well. We need all of you guys to support our poker tournament. There's Billy Friedrich in the house. It was great getting to share the screen with Billy. It was too bad that he didn't win the Survivor Pool on Monday, but he did. It did stay alive. They didn't split it 4 ways. It's staying alive with the 4 players that were eliminated on the last week, which is fun. BLab69 says, "What up? Nice NBA card today." Yes, and we have Daryl Rice back in action with us after a spectacular season last year, breaking down the entire card. I'm excited about it. I love these opportunities when we can just focus on NHL and NBA. It's a preference. I love capping these 2 sports enormously. Have not gotten off to a great start in NHL, but we can fix that. And then NBA 3-3, low sample size to start the year. And there's only been only 1 year where I've publicly not been healthy in the black double-digit units. So I expect glory here. Mark Tequila in the house. Mark, big weekend ahead of you. Phillies, Astros World Series. Jose Bouquet's breakdown video is out right now for Phillies, Astros. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, but all the boys are going to be live Friday night for World Series Game 1. That will be our live bet stream. We're leaving college football this Friday night and going to baseball. So Game 1 of the World Series live bet stream right here on Pub Sports Radio. Tomorrow night, our live bet stream for Thursday Night Football, which is a fascinating game between the Ravens and Buccaneers, will be hosted by none other than Connor Mack. So there's a ton going on. Dan Kelly says, Captain NHL and NBA only brings tears of nostalgia. Yes, it does. And there's Birdie says, good morning, all. NHL play today, bet it last night. Ducks plus 140. Yeah, I came very close to moving on the Ducks as well. I just wish that the Lightning hadn't looked so bad to start the year. But I love the premise. I always have. A bad road trip. We'll get into that here right away. We'll get into that right away. Ethan Payson says, I haven't been able to tune in recently. Will you be applying what you did in baseball and basketball? Or basketball too? I did that to basketball. I don't know if you remember last year, Ethan, but I got off to a really ugly start in basketball. Really ugly. I was down 20 units in NBA, and it was just like MLB. We got all the way, but not quite as glorious. But we finished the season double-digit units up in basketball. So yes, now in NHL, I'd like to not do that. In NHL, I will discuss where the cash is, but I'm coming to you with my bets. That's the only sport. Maybe I'll do that a bit in NBA, but in NHL, I'm going to come to you with my action. tell you what it is. Maybe there'll be some additions. Every Thursday, Mr. Gogster will join us. Wednesdays are usually lighter cards. We're going to focus a little more on NBA. We have Daryl Rice joining us. And then on Friday, we're going to have Dutch Boy Fresh joining us to break down the NBA card. And we're going to figure out who to cement for our guests as the season goes on. Billy Friedrich says college basketball right around the corner. Big Daddy Boom says Buffalo Sabres ragdolled the Pacific, but it was time to pay the piper. Yes, that will happen. Situational gambling is such a huge piece of NHL. And I mean, in all sports gambling, really. But Gerardo Hernandez in the house. Great to see you, Gerardo. B-Lab says, I like the market approach from you for MLB and NBA. Yes, and for NHL, it's my best sport. Always has been. I beat NHL. Now, last year was the worst regular season I think I've ever had, certainly since I've been tracking all my action and certainly since I've been public. Now, we had a huge playoffs and our futures were glorious. But, it happened and it's upsetting. Mark Tequila says, God bless my grandmother. She bought my dad and I tickets to go together to a World Series game. My late grandfather had season tickets and took all of his kids in 1980 and 93. Wants my dad to do the same. That's wonderful. That's so wonderful. I love that. Isn't that why a big part of the reason why we love sports, because it brings people together, brings our families together, brings our friends together. That's why sports are so magical. That's why, and sports never-ending storylines. People laugh when I'm like, we'll go see a movie. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't watch fiction and will never watch fiction. I used to when I was younger, but I get it all from sports. So that's just beautiful. I love that. Sky Dragon says, just bet Calgary and you'll beat NHL, Jimmy. It pains me to read that, and I will try to fade Calgary every opportunity that I can. But they are a good hockey team, and it would just be my own anger towards the franchise that would do that. That's all. That is all. Yeah, that's wonderful, Mark. I love that. What a cool family you have. Gerardo Hernandez says, I'm on the Islanders money line. Got the minus 115 last night. Let's go. I could have got the minus 120 this morning. I decided to go for the minus 1 and plus 143. I am on the New York Islanders. We're going to get into that here. Dan Kelly says, as should be expected, linebackers are always getting sharper and sharper. More than ever, when I find an advantage on my charts, the lines are adjusted or not available. It just gets harder. Yeah. Yes, I hear that. But they say that there was a lot of professional gamblers who were like, the baseball lines are too hard, near the last 30 games of the season, 40 games of the season, and too hard. And I just lit up and smoked the last 30 or 40 games of the season. So, yes, I understand. I also think that working together, getting as much knowledge in as you can, and finding the edges that work for you, because I like, Dan, you focus on numbers. You have the database, and we love it. For me, I try to mix as much psychology and, things like that into my capping. And I think that, I don't want to get too confident, but hearing all the pros saying, oh, the lines are too tight in baseball, and we just destroyed the last 40 games of baseball, gave me a lot of hope as we move forward and not to fear. Now, they say the same thing about NFL, and I have not been very good 3 of the last 4 weeks. Remember, I started out harder than I've ever have in any sport in my life. So, look, we're keenly aware of what we're up against, but we also know what we have, and what we have is this show and us working together and studying the markets and improving every day and listening. And I do believe we can succeed in the long run. I do believe it. But I love capping with you, Dan. There's Turnsy in the house. Great to see Turnsy back in action. What a bet by Clint Star, the diehard MMA podcast. He believed in Phil Kessel last night as he became the NHL's Iron Man. God, it pains me to say that out loud, that Phil Kessel could be. I mean, look at the guys he had to beat, starting with Gary Unger. And at least it's not Keith Yandel, but Gary Unger, Doug Jarvis. These were guys. Steve Larmer. Remember Steve Larmer was at 886 and he lost because he held out of a contract. Those guys were men. Kessel somehow has the streak going. But I digress. What a bet by our Clint. He had a big bet on Kessel to get a point. He had a sizable bet on Kessel to get a goal and then a sprinkle on Kessel to get the first goal. He did that all. He scored the first goal of the game. It was spectacular work. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Don't forget about our poker tournament. There's Penny Bombs. Levi Kresser. I've been working way too much, not capping enough, and certainly not getting in the live chat much at all. But today, maybe for one day, I'm back. Nice to have you, Levi, my man. Red Eye's ready to go. Slats. He says, waking up in Vegas, realizing only 3 games in NHL today is concerning. I like the days. I like the 3 games slate we have. There's beautiful stuff. Spenny Penny Bomb says, my elementary school teacher was Jeff Larmer, Steve Larmer's brother. Was the best teacher ever. Had stories. Oh, that's dope, man. I was a big Steve Larmer fan. Control Your Vessel says Kessel never gives a hit or takes when his game is contact free. I mean, Steve Larmer played tough hockey. But I love this. I love this opportunity to cap with you guys. So let's get at it. We have about 15 minutes at least, or at most 19. So for NHL, and then we'll have Daryl joining us here at 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern, and we may get to it a little bit quicker. Let's get to, we're looking at that North Ender coming off a giant day, 4-0 in NBA, 3-0 in NHL. Great work. I know you guys have been eating on Tuesdays with the Pistol Pete Loshak show, and that just inspires me to be better, to be stronger as well. All right, let's get to work right now. Let's move that. I don't need the NHL stats. I got this up, and where's my, there we go. It's my line movement right there. Let's get to work again. Jose, can you pop up one more time the poker tournament? Please sign up for our poker tournament. We need you guys because we won't be able to keep doing them. So we need a $25 buy-in. We added 5 minutes to the blind, so it's not as quick, it's not as fast, it's not as turbo-y, and I will be hosting. So please sign up for us at Bet Online for our poker tournament. All right, let's get to work. We start 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The New York Rangers 3-2-2, 1-1-0 on the road at the New York Islanders, 2-4-0, 2-2-0 at home. We're at UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. I believe Halak will be in net. I've read in some chats where people think that Chesty is going to go back-to-back. I think that's absolutely nuts that in game 8 of the regular season, you would have your superstar goalie go back-to-back. So I'm very confident that Halak will be in net, and he has looked bad. He has looked bad since about February of this year. He had a great start to last year as a backup for the Canucks, and then he fell apart late. He's continued that over here with the Rangers. Sky Dragon, I think the same thing. Sky Dragon saying Kessel's Iron Man nonsense shouldn't exist. Deliberately playing just one shift makes him a disgrace to the game and a disgrace to the Iron Man record. God, I need that on a shirt. I need Kessel with his tits out, and that as the quote. God, I got it. Can we? God, I need that on a shirt. I got to make that shirt. That's got to be a Pub Sports Radio shirt. Oh man, and have Dennis quoted on it. God, that's a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. I couldn't write it better myself. Jose, can you copy and paste that as well, just so we can double up there? Frank White ready to go. Okay, Spenny, Bo, Control Your Vessel. Okay, let's get to work here with this Islanders-Rangers game. Sorokin is a very good goalie. He hasn't come off to the best start so far, 2.84 goals against average, 908 save percentage. Look, we know what this Rangers team is capable of. They're very strong. Philip Hedl is hurt, but they're on the second half of a back-to-back. They're playing their third game in 4 nights, and the Islanders need this win. They've started out 2 wins and 4 losses. Rangers power play at 22.2%, penalty killing at 76.2%. The Islanders power play at 14.3%, and they have that perfect penalty killing at 100%. Perfect penalty killing. Justin McElvey, great to have you. Thank you for joining us. There's Dabby Cab, who will be the host of our big Friday World Series Game 1 live bet stream. So these Rangers come off their third straight loss, 3-2 in overtime to the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Avalanche, in overtime. And look, that's not a preference for me. I don't want to fade a team that's lost 3 straight, but I do want to fade a team on the second half of a back-to-back, playing their third game in 4 nights, who just went to overtime and lost to the defending Stanley Cup champions. And that's what I want to do. Panarin's off to a monster start, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points in just 7 games. The Islanders come in off their third straight loss as well. They lost in Tampa 5-3 and followed that up with a 3-2 loss at Florida on Monday night. So, look, this is their third game in 4 nights as well, but I just feel like it's different because it's not on the second half of a back-to-back. Anders Lee's gotten the season off to a strong start, 4 goals, 3 assists in 6 games. And Noah Dobson from PEI, he is just a hell of a young hockey player and 12th overall pick in the 2018 draft out of the Q. He's showing everybody why he's considered one of the best young defensemen in the NHL. So Birdie says, I'm playing a backup goalie that could be the worst in the league. Gerardo says Shesterkin needs a day off. Halak should start. Rangers will have tired legs, speed kills. Birdie says Halak needs to retire. A lot of extreme comments in the chat. I fucking love it. All right, so let's just quickly look at the line history, and I will tell you what, I did look at it. I did look at it before I bet. I did look at it. And it's come back. There's money's come back in on the Rangers. The early money was all Islanders. Right now, we have 56% of the tickets on the Islanders and 66% of the cash. It was up to 72% of the cash. Then you have 54% of tickets and 82% of cash on the over. Let's take a look at the line history here, see if it's moving towards that over. But, man, the market's moving fast towards the Islanders. So Halak must be announced in. So I got minus 120. But I got the -1 at plus 143. But it's now minus 131 at Pinnacle. So we have a 24-cent move to the New York Islanders. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6, minus 107 to the under. It's now minus 108 to the under. So I hear you, Davfen. So what you're talking about is an issue for all of us. So he says, so the Islanders, I lost with the Rangers last night. Wary of betting against them and losing again. We can't let what happened last night affect us. And remember what really changed in baseball for me. I know we're talking about hockey right now, but remember what changed in baseball for me. And look at the year I had. I stopped talking about what happened yesterday. Now, hockey's different, but don't let a bias get into your head. If you don't want to fade the team you bet on yesterday, feel free to stay off of it. Don't force it. You know, there's Razor Sharp Picks. He'll be in our poker tournament tonight as well. Jordy Nordman in the house. Real Deal Prime. All right, so there you go. Islanders -1 at plus 143. And keep an eye out for Noah Dobson, future Norris Trophy winner. We move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Edmonton Oilers 3-3-0. First road game of the season at the St. Louis Blues. 3-1-0, 1-0-0 at home. We're at Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri. Jack Campbell going up against Jordan Binnington. But the Oilers are on the first half of a back-to-back. So it's important to know and be certain that Campbell's going to be in net. That's important. There's our guy, Rocco Rogers, who jumped with Clint on the Kessel bet. That was a thing of beauty. Okay, so Campbell, 3-2-0, 3.62 goals against, average 895 save percentage. Look, I don't think he's a great goaltender. I think he can play better than he's playing. Okay start. Then we have Jordan Binnington, 3-0-0, 1.65 ERA, 940 save percentage, 1 shutout. He's carried on everything from what happened in the playoffs for him when he took the job away from Ville Husso. Even Spenny Pennybaum saying Binnington looked great to start the season again. You know, Polo this, Polo that. I'm sorry, I should have the answer. Maybe Jose can find that answer for us. I fear what that answer is, Polo this. I fear it. Sky Dragon says St. Louis money line. Cindy plays horses in the house. Great to see you, Cindy. Breeders' Cup so soon. It's coming so soon. All right, so let's talk about the injuries because the Blues have a bunch of them. So Scandella and Prunovic have been out all year, and they're going to be out all year. Scandella with the hip injury, Prunovic with the shoulder injury. So 2 of their defensemen out. Brandon Saad, upper body injury day-to-day, and then Pavel Buchnevich, lower body injury day-to-day. Now, either of them could be back here. Oilers finished off their disappointing season-opening 6-game homestand with a 3-3 record. They closed up with an impressive 6-3 win over the Pens on Monday night, broke the franchise record with 26 shots in the second period. They watched McDavid go down at the 16-minute mark of the second period, or was it God, I can't even remember now. It's all blur. I believe it was the second period, and they really stepped up when McDavid went down, and McDavid is fine. He's good to go. Now, don't forget, I came so close to betting the Oilers here. And then I was like, don't let my futures get too carried away with believing in this hockey team. But the main thing for me was that 2-0 win the Blues had in Edmonton on Saturday night. Binnington got the shutout, and he only had to make 23 saves to do it. So we saw the Oilers bounce back and put up 26 shots in the second period against Pittsburgh 2 nights later. They played perfect hockey against the Oilers. This is how you beat the Oilers. You have to win the majority of the faceoffs. The Blues did that. And of course they did with O'Reilly, and they're strong up the middle. They won 26 of 44 faceoffs. Then they had 1 2-minute penalty all game long. That's it. 2 minutes of penalty. You got to keep Draisaitl and McDavid and that power play off the ice. The Chief, Craig Berube, is as good of a coach. And that's a guy who should be the Iron Man in the NHL, not old sloppy tits Kessel. But Craig Berube does such a great job. And look at this. The St. Louis Blues have 100% penalty killing. Look, I know it's only 4 games in, but you set a tone. And the Islanders have done that too in 4 games with 100% penalty killing. There's Brian Watson in the house, and Controlling Vessel says it was second period. Okay, thank you. I thought it was. Lucas Ryan, it's fun. Hockey's back, baby, and we're going to attack. And I have not gotten off to a good start. And, with the accountability that we have and the transparency that we have, there's going to be times when I'm afraid to look at that record, but it's fine. We'll take care of all of this. So back to this Oilers spot. The problem here, and it stopped me, was that the Blues also are coming off a horrible game. And Berube's such a great coach, and he's going to be all over them for that. So we saw the Oilers come off a bad game against the Blues, only get 23 shots on goal. What happened? They lost their star in the second period, beat a very good Penguins team 6-3, and put up 26 shots in the second period. Here we have the Blues coming off a 4-0 loss at Winnipeg to finish off their 3-game road trip that opened up really impressively with wins over the Kraken and the Oilers. So I put everything together, and I was like, oh, God, I might have to stay off of this. Unfortunately, if I had a free play, I'd take the Oilers. The market's moved 11 cents in their favor. By 6 this morning, it'd move 18 cents in their favor. So there's buyback on the Blues. And look, to get a team with the skill set of the Blues at home at plus money is a really nice opportunity. This total opened up at 6.5 minus 122 to the over. It's now minus 116 to the over. Again, they just played a very low scoring game. A Viper NB is on the Blues -1. There's Astute Chaos in the house. And look at Rem Most. This is the best, getting us the most inside information. It says warehouse fire next to the Oilers hotel last night, in case you track fires in your capping. Wow. Rem, did they all have to leave and evacuate their hotel or even switch to a different hotel? That's such important stuff. I love that, Rem. I absolutely love that. Rodney Barton ready to get to work. So we'll touch on the line history. We just touched on line history and the total. We'll touch on where the cash lies here. And 73% of the tickets are on the Oilers, but 63% of the cash. So there is bigger bets coming in on the Blues, 27% and 37% of the cash. Spenny Pennybomb says there was a better price on the Blues last night, going to leave it now. And the best price really came in about 6 this morning. All that said and done, I cannot do it. I can't take the Oilers, and maybe if I can't take the Oilers, I should take the Blues. Maybe. And if the Blues hadn't have just shut out the Oilers, I would do it. And the Oilers are an angry group. I know that they feel better about that win over Pittsburgh, but that was not the opening homestand that they hoped for. Brandon the Great says 60-minute draw spot. I can understand the risk reward in that bet for sure. So there you go. I'm off Oilers, Blues. Let's move on to the final game on the card. Tampa Bay Lightning 3-4, 2-3 on the road at the Anaheim Ducks, 1-4-1, 1-0-0 at home at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Brian Elliott will be in net for the Lightning. Vasilevsky was in net last night in that 4-2 loss at Los Angeles. And Johnny Gibson will expected to be in net for the Ducks, and he has not gotten the year off to a good start. 4.52 ERA, goals against average, 892 save percentage. At Tampa Bay Lightning, 24.1% power play, 80.1% penalty killing. and it's Stamkos. Stamkos is doing everything. We've heard Bertie talk about the lack of depth on this team, and we're really seeing it with Anthony Cirelli out. Zach Bogosian's out for another month, and maybe that hurts as a depth piece, but Cirelli out, we're seeing the lack of depth. Look, I loved what Nick Paul did in the playoffs, but to expect him to be a top 6 forward in the NHL through an 82 game season, he's never proven he could do that before. Look, I loved what he did in the playoffs, but you need Cirelli back. The Lightning aren't deep, so they're 3-4. They're 3-4, and Stamkos has 7 goals in 7 games. Note that 5 of those games are on the power play. 5 of those goals, or I said games, 5 of those goals are on the power play. Kucherov assisted on all of them. And he finally scored his first goal of the season last night. It was a meaningless goal, but not for Kucherov. I remember in the provincial championships, I'd gone into the championships playing really good hockey. And then the first game, I was invisible. And it was a hugely important game. I was invisible. I did nothing. And we were up 6-2. I got a breakaway pass with 45 seconds left in the game. And dropped my left shoulder, put it upstairs. And it was beautiful. And then everything changed for me. And I was completely invisible that whole game. And then I just got hot. I can expect Kucherov to get hot after that goal he scored late. It's an important goal, even though it was meaningless for the Lightning. I can understand why Birdie's on the Ducks. And Birdie got in on the Ducks at plus 140. My problem here, and I really want everything to correlate. And that's what's been working for me, as I've not had a losing month all year. Not one losing month all year, because I'm trying to have everything to correlate. And the only problem I have here is just that Lightning looked bad last night. And we know what they do off of a loss. The Ducks opened up at plus 144. They're now at plus 129. They got down to plus 122. There was buyback and big buyback. They got up to plus 135 at 10:17 this morning and immediately were bet by the Ducks backers once it got up to plus 139, back to plus 129. This total opened up at 6. It's moved to 6.5. Mitch Fearing says, I'm betting Tampa minus 135 just as a value play, hoping they wake up here. Second night of back-to-back, but they looked asleep last night. Hopefully the jet lag wears off, and I don't mind Elliott in net either. That's from Mitch. Spenny Pennybaum said, had the Kings last night as a home dog against Tampa. Not sure will play again, although Elliott should be in net. There's Rocco Rogers. Thank you for joining us, my man. Brandon the Great looking at the Ducks in 60 minutes. So let's just quickly touch on the cash flow and then touch on the Ducks a little more. The Ducks have 21% of the tickets and 35% of the cash, and the market's moving in that direction. That's a nice place to be in. You see the public on the Lightning, 69% of tickets, 98% of cash is on the over, and it's gone from 6 to 6.5. Alex Ramirez in the house. Great to see you. Mark Schillingberg played Bjorkstrand over on shots last night. Literally only the second time this year he hasn't covered. That happens. It's sometimes the shots are tricky. Last night, Andy Maltor had line A shot total over, and he had it laddered 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. He had two shots, and then with the net pulled, he put up 4 shots in the last 90 seconds of the game to cash them all. It's tricky. Turnsy says Ducks money line. Look, I get it. So the Ducks return off an ugly 0-5 road trip. They were last seen losing 5-1 to Detroit on Sunday night. They are going to start scoring. They're taking 41.2 shots per game. This team's firing everything at the net, and they're scoring 2.33 goals per game. That's not going to continue. I'm telling you, that is not going to continue. Oh, and by the way, Jose has talked to someone on Bet Online, and you should be able to join the poker tournament regardless of state. So you should be able to, Jersey. Thank you for checking that out, Jose. So I want in on the Ducks, but if I had a free bet, I'd be on them. But I just don't want to fade the Lightning after a loss. Noli Knows says Islanders under. It's all about Halak here. I think that I would prefer, Noli, a team total under for the Rangers, but let's see what we're getting there. Even that might be a little risky. I mean, back in the day, Noli, you would never get a 6 when the Rangers played the Islanders, ever. So the fact that you're getting a 6 in this rivalry game makes me very interested in the under. But again, 54% of tickets, 82% of cash is on the over. And why are they on the over? Because Halak has been trash. But look, the Rangers scoring their goals on the power play, and the Islanders haven't allowed a power play. I think this sets up for an Islanders victory. And there's Ski Profit in the house. Great to see you, Ski. Perfect timing because we're getting into NBA right now. DC Capper says you like the under or the over for the Lightning Ducks game. I have to respect all this money on the over, and I want to. The perfect situation for me gambling would be the Lightning beat the Ducks comfortably here, because I want to bet on the Ducks. I just telling you about their shots on goal, 41.2 and only scoring 2.33 goals per game. They have snipers on this team in Terry and Zegras. I'm really excited about Mason McTavish. I know he's been kind of playing a tiny bit more on the periphery than I would like him to, but he's a young kid. And I think they're going to score. Brad Hassan says, not a great night for NHL. I think it's a great, I love these games. So, and who needs a great night in the NHL when we have poker tonight? Our Bet Online tournament, $25 entry. The password PubSportsOct. We need you in. But perfect time to have Ski Profit in the house because we are now going to NBA. And last year, our guest was absolutely spectacular. He was absolutely spectacular. And we all really fell for this. And I don't mean fall in a bad way. I mean falling in love.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Daryl in the house. I have missed you, my man. It is great to see your face. How are you, my guy?
Yo, what is good? What is good, Jimmy? It is good to be back, man. NBA is already here, man. So I'm happy to be back. Thanks for the intro. It is always good to be a part of the show, man. And let's get right to work, man. It's time to get busy.
Let's get right to work. We have a huge card, and I can't wait to attack it. You were spectacular last year. Matty Ice says, Durl, one of my favorite pub sports guys. Remo says, hope we get a couple. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is today. Alex is giving you love. So is Big Daddy Boom. It is great to have you rolling with us. Let's go. 7 p.m. Eastern. Orlando Magic 0-4, 0-3 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 2-1, 1-0 at home. We're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Orlando playing at 100.13 possessions a game for pace, while Cleveland playing very slow, 96.32 possessions a game. Let's start with the line history, go into the cash, and then I will set a very quick table for Durl to take it away. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. The Cavs opened up -8.5 and -110. It got down to 7.5. Money came in on Orlando. It's come right back. So we're right back from where we started. We're at 8.5, and that last move was at 9:02 a.m. Total-wise, this has fallen apart. It opened up at 219. We have a 5-point drop to the under 214, and judging by these two teams' pace, I completely understand why that is. Penny Bombs Orlando plus 8.5. Says looking at Cole Anthony props, maybe 20-plus points. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. We have 7,578 tickets in. 37% of the tickets are on Orlando and 77% of the cash. So big bets clearly coming in on Orlando. 42% of the tickets and 85% of cash on the under, and we've seen a 5-point move to the under. Orlando comes in off its 4th straight loss to open the year, 115-102 at the Knicks on Monday night. Paolo Banchero, 21 points. Unbelievable. He just keeps climbing all these incredible stats. The third number 1 overall pick to open his career with 4 straight 20 or more points. Elvin Hayes and Oscar Robertson are the only other two, both Hall of Famers. Wendell Carter Jr., 17 and 11, and Bol 19, 5 and 4 blocks off the bench. Cavs coming off their 2nd straight win, 117-107 at home over the Wizards Sunday night on the second half of a back-to-back. So it was very impressive to win those back-to-backs without Garland, who is still dealing with the left eye laceration that happened in Toronto, and that's the reason why Toronto won that basketball game. Garland went down. Donovan Mitchell has stepped up in a big way, 37 points, then 32, 9 and 8. 37 last night after going 32, 9 and 8 against the Bulls. And Chetty has taken over because they gave Okoro the opportunity to replace Garland, but it is Chetty who's hitting 56.7% from the field. So for Magic, injuries, Suggs, Fultz, Harris, Isaac all out indefinitely. It's too bad. Those were big pieces. So we have a starting five of Cole Anthony, Wagner, Banchero, Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. And the Cavs still just dealing with the Garland injury. He'll be back to play Boston on Friday. There you go, Daryl. Take it away. Magic, Cavs. What's the move?
Yeah. So I first want to say I hope everybody is cashing tickets. I haven't gotten deep into betting as far as making big plays, but just full transparency, my record now is 2-7. So I, like you, man, getting off to a slow start in the NBA. I usually don't bet really this early anyways to get, a comfortable sample size. Some people can get it rather quickly, but I'm not that smart. So I got to wait a little bit and keep rewatching games. With that said, if you're betting props and hitting them, man, good job. Good job. Continue to get those props. To me, this was a prop game. I looked at the numbers here, and what stuck out really are these teams are kind of similar in first quarter and second quarter scoring, right? Points per game for Cleveland right now is at 116.7, and Orlando is looking at 107. So there goes your 9 points right there, if you will. So that line minus 8.5 may be kind of sharp to a certain degree. The average margin of victory for Cleveland right now is at 8.5. So that line is sharp there as well. What I think the advantage here, and may pay off, is how they score in the second quarter versus what Cleveland is allowing teams to score in the second quarter. So they do both have strong second quarters, but Cleveland, for whatever reason, turns that defense on and is not allowing teams to score in the second quarter as much. They're highly ranked. They're averaging about 24 points allowed versus Orlando allowing close to 30. So the play that I do like, I haven't gotten there yet, but the play I believe, let me check right now. The play that I do like is Cleveland first half minus 4.5.
Cleveland first half minus 4.5. Interesting. It's too chaos on that first half over minus 1.4.
Yeah, Cleveland first half minus 4.5. All right, that's what I stepped on already. So I just what I think ends up happening here is you've got them maybe having a pretty balanced attack in the first quarter, but I'm just really depending on that defense to step up on the second quarter for Cleveland and shut them down. If I'm right, Cleveland has not allowed a 30-point score in the second quarter. So this is what kind of makes them dominant versus Orlando allowing huge scores in the second quarter. So that first quarter seems like an edge to me. Small play on it, but I did take Cleveland first half minus 4.5.
And do we make that official here?
Yeah, if that's the number you still got, make that official. I played it already. I'll make it official.
I can get you a 4.5 at minus 110.
Okay. That's what I have already.
All right. Cavs minus 4.5 at minus 110. And one note about the poker tournament quickly is that we asked initially for them to extend the blinds 5 minutes. They didn't do it, and it was just an oversight. So I mentioned it again, and then they had to take us all out of the tournament. So if you were in the tournament already, we have to re-register. Everyone had to re-register. So that's why it's smaller numbers right now. But the guys who registered and will think they're in the tournament will notice they're not in. We'll just re-register. So we're going to be fine. But we do need everybody to enter. Everybody needs to get in this poker tournament, or we won't be able to keep having them. So please jump in. Please jump in. Minus 4.5 at minus 110. And LJ from H says Orlando has allowed 3 players to score 18-plus points in 3 out of 4 games so far. There's Brant Hunt in the house. Great to see you, Brant. Ray Charles saying Banchero over 19.5 points, Mitchell over 28.5 points. Yes, Dommy Gun, tonight is the poker tournament, $25 entry free. Excuse me, and please jump in and rock with us. Please jump in and rock with us. So a lot of love here for Banchero. AJ 1337s on Banchero, double at plus 425. And so talk to me about the starting five now with all of the injuries for the Magic. Is this still, I mean, this team is 0-4 thus far, and let me pull this up here. 0-4, and they've covered how many times? They're gonna let me know.
Their spread they've covered. Their ATS right now is 1-3.
1-3.
They're 0-4, 1-3. The only spread that they did cover was, I believe, against Boston. Yeah, that was the one against Boston. They lost by 6 points. That spread was 9.
Can you give me an argument on why we'd be sitting here with 35% of the tickets and 77% of the cash on the Magic? I know there's been buyback in the last hour, but what do you think the Sharps are seeing in this Magic squad at the number at 8.5?
I honestly can't tell you. For me to try to figure it out, Cleveland has obviously played better teams at that, you know? So just looking at who they've played, I don't see why Cleveland couldn't get there and smack Orlando. So maybe it's just something that they see. But Donovan Mitchell's been unstoppable. That front court for Cleveland is going to absolutely smack Orlando Magic. You're not. I mean, Isaac hasn't played a game at all. You're still sitting with no Markelle. So you got key people out that will make a difference. No Suggs, obviously. I don't know what the Sharps see here, but for me, maybe it's just a backdoor cover. But honestly, if I had to choose a side for the full game, it would absolutely still be Cleveland here. But I don't see it. I don't know where it's coming from.
Dan Kelly says Cavs on 2 days rest. Magic playing their 4th in 6 days. Cavs at halftime will be my play. It's interesting. I was leaning towards moving on the Magic early, and your look on the Cavs first half minus 4.5 has taken me off.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I took this first half, now, this is what I got to say. You go with your gut on this. It's still early in the season, right? And I mean, I'm not doing good. But what I would have to say is the biggest disparity in numbers I had seen is in that second quarter. So to me, Orlando's going to have to blow these guys out in the first quarter, right? Which they're not going to do because they're even as far as points that they make and points that they're allowing on both ends. But that second quarter, look at the second quarter numbers on how many points are allowed by the Cavaliers, and it's just a huge difference. So if this game stays close in the first quarter, if even Cleveland's up by a point or two, and they don't cover, say, that first quarter spread, I do believe the first half will be there.
Yeah, because that first quarter I find even appealing for the Magic. They lose by 6 to Orlando in the first quarter. Or sorry, they lose to 6 by the Knicks in the first quarter last out. Against Boston, they lose by 3 points in the first quarter, but put up 33. So they're allowing a lot of points in that first quarter. Let's see, against Atlanta in the first.
Cleveland is 1-2 ATS first quarter. So that should tell you something, right? That should tell you something there. They lost first quarter to Washington, they lost it to Chicago, and they lost it to Atlanta, or beat Atlanta with it, I believe.
Beat Atlanta, held them to 19 there on the road.
So remember, we were talking about, and this was making us money last year, where there was teams that was doing it. Memphis, Cleveland to a certain degree, and Milwaukee, right? Those were the top teams that were making us money first quarter, first half. But for whatever reason, that first quarter is not hitting as it should. But if you just look at the numbers for the second quarter, we're good to go.
Okay. All right. I guess I will stay off. I have some interest in the Magic first quarter at +3, but I'll leave a bunch of question marks there. There's Coin in the house. AOD. North Ender says Magic or pass. And Dan Kelly going to get in at halftime. With an expectation.
He's going to get in at halftime?
He's going to get in at halftime because of the rest advantage that the Cavaliers have.
That's a good spot.
Let's move on to the next game on the card. 7 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks 2-1. First road game of the year at the Detroit Pistons 1-3, 1-0 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Atlanta 102.83 possessions a game, while Detroit just a little slower at 101.75 possessions a game. We will start by jumping into the market and see what we are dealing with. We have The Hawks opening up at -7. They're now -7.5. And from a total perspective, it opened up at 228 and is now at 229.5, but it's come down from 230.5. So let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. 9,141 tickets. And by the way, we do have two teams with full line value on the card, and they come up later. But here, 76% of tickets, 83% of cash on the Hawks. It's moved a half point in their direction. And then 40% of tickets on the over and 51% of cash on the over. Feels like all this late money is coming in on the under. Viper MB is on the Hawks -7.5 and Hawks team total over 118.5. Spenny Penny Bomb says DeJounte Murray double at +160. Hawks had their season opening homestand end with their first loss of the season, and it was ugly. 126-109 setback at home versus the Hornets on Sunday night. 41.1% from the field, 22.9 from three. Trae Young has looked strong to start out the year. 25.3 points, 11.7 assists. DeJounte 19.7 points, 8.3 assists, and 7.3 rebounds, and 3.3 steals. Collins averaging a double-double. Okongwu is coming off the bench with 8.7 points, and he's the only one coming off the bench. The bench looks really weak here. Charlottes's reserves outscored Atlanta's bench 52-28. Pistons are on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their third straight game, 120-99 at the Wizards last night. Bogdanovich, 25 points, 4 for 7 on 3. The rest of the team was 4 for 21. And again, Cade Cunningham starting the year slowly, just like last year. I mean, last year he had the injury excuse. This year, he's just not playing very well. 7 of 19 from the field, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. He's shooting 38.6% from the field through 4 games this year. For the Hawks, Bogdanovich, the other Bogdanovich, is out indefinitely. Justin Holiday, questionable with a non-COVID illness. And for the Pistons, Bagley and Burks out indefinitely. Take it away for us, Durrell, Hawks, Pistons.
Yeah, this is an obvious spot where you take Atlanta, right? This is an obvious spot where you take them, but I only took them first half. I took them first half -4. You can make that official. I played that early as well. And the reason why is this. These numbers are also kind of similar in what they do in the first and second quarter. I just believe in this spot here where you got a back-to-back where you're traveling on the Pistons side and you got a motivated Atlanta Hawks team that they're going to start fast and they're going to make buckets. They're going to have the opportunity to get buckets. I mean, Detroit, every team that's beat them has beat them by 120 points or they've scored 120 points or more. They allowed Orlando to put up 109 and they scored 113. That was their only win, right? But other than that, these good teams are going to beat them and beat them well. So I could not take the full game because if you just look at past matchups, and it's something that I hate to do, really, because what happened last year is what's last year. And this year is going to be completely different, especially when you got roster moves and new players and things of that nature. Detroit kind of keeps it real simple, right? Kind of keeps it real simple and keeps it close. In some cases, have beat them. So it's not like they're not used to playing each other. Adding DeJounte Murray onto the squad has been a good thing for Collins, right? There's more ball movement and there's more help on defense in the backcourt. So I do like Atlanta. It's an obvious smash spot for Atlanta, but we've seen already trickeration that's been happening in the NBA, right? Like Atlanta was not supposed to lose to Charlotte. You know, the Utah Jazz being 3-1 right now is fucking baffling to me. How is this even happening? You know, so teams that we're thinking aren't going to do well for whatever reason, they're making some surprises and doing just the opposite. So this whole tank season for Wembanyama, it's not showing up on the paper right now. So I could not step on the full game because I don't know if there's going to be a backdoor cover. What my mind is telling me is that this is obviously an Atlanta spot to where they're going to come out motivated to play because they should not have lost like they did to Charlotte, right? So if they're going to come out, they're going to come out early and they're going to beat these boys up. I do like the first half. That's what I stepped on.
Yeah, it makes sense. I kind of want to have the full game in case this is a tired Pistons squad.
Everybody does say that. And the reason why I'm using the travel as an angle, right? But also you're dealing with a young team and it's too early in the season. I mean, so that might have a small, you know, that may weigh small against how you cap the games. But in my opinion, I mean, Cade Cunningham in the second year, Jaden Ivey in his first year, these guys, man, these boys is young. They're young. You know, these guys need like an hour of sleep. So I'm just saying for right now, at this early in the season, that could play a factor, but I don't know how big of a factor that could play versus it being later on in the season. You've had some games, you had some injuries probably happen that those that you come back from those. So for right now, like I said, this is an obvious spot for Atlanta to take them. The games have been close in the past. Atlanta's going to come out motivated in the beginning and then just might let up the gas, in the second half. It could go either way. So I did take Atlanta first half.
And I guess I'll end up being talked out of it. I can understand North Ender saying easy pass for me. I think Atlanta smacks them, but I just can't do public faves in the NBA. And then Dan Kelly giving us a final score based on his numbers. That's, basically is right where the line is.
Right where the line is. Exactly.
And then Johnny Gunn saying historically aren't the Hawks bad on the road. I mean, I think I think this team is a little different now.
You get in, Jimmy, and you get out early. Atlanta right now, all of their games, they've covered that first quarter spread. Check the numbers. They are 3-0 ATS when it comes to the first quarter.
I thought we just looked at Orlando being up 8 on them in the first quarter. Didn't we just? I thought I did.
Okay.
Was it 27-19 Orlando, or was that might think of a different game?
I could be wrong. That's just what I wrote down.
Let's see here. Yeah, it was Orlando was 27-19.
My bad. I spoke erroneously.
It's all good.
You know what I meant to say? I'm sorry. Head to head.
Okay.
Head to head. I'm sorry. That's head to head. So if you look at their head to head matchups, they are first quarter winners. They do win in the first quarter. And I'm going to look at those numbers right now just to confirm that.
And also to confirm and clarify something, Spenny, I don't feel like the line has dropped a half a point. If I focus solely on Pinnacle opened this up at 7. It's now at 7.5. So it always depends what sort of book you're looking at. And when Pinnacle opened this at 7, it lasted at 7 for 30 minutes before it hit 7.5. It didn't go back to 7 till 9:40 this morning. So, those are the line makers numbers. Okay, for illustration purposes. Okay, I hear you. Okay, I get it. Thank you, Dan, for clarifying that. Okay, well, I guess I'm just going to have to put question marks beside the Hawks. I was wondering if I was going to buy in on them. We haven't seen them on the road yet. And but I do think that I love backing them after how bad they played.
How bad they looked.
Yeah,
right.
So I completely get your angle. In those first 2 games, they were covering by the slimmest of margins, but there were big favorites in them. Okay, I guess I'm going to spend a little bit more time. North Ender says it opened at 5.5, 6-2. Why don't we just take quickly, very, very quickly, why don't we look at Bet Online, because we know how early Bet Online, they have no fear and they get it out early. Bet Online opened this up at 5.5. 5.5 yesterday at 228. So Bet Online opened at 5.5, with limits, and now it's at 7.5. So it's a clear, if I could get in at 6, I would be moving on it. I feel like that would give me enough of an edge. And
5.5 is perfect. I mean, they had to steam that up. It's probably because, of course the money moved it. But then, I mean, Atlanta just they got their lunch taken by Charlotte. With no Melo, come on, man. That's not supposed to happen. So from a motivational factor, it's a get-right game.
Let's move on to Charlotte Hornets at New York Knicks. Our man Dirls moved on both of these early games so far. Let's move on to the third game on the card. Hornets, Knicks. Start with the line history. Knicks opened -8. Now they're at -7.5. When they opened it at 8, it was yesterday at 3:30 p.m. Didn't move till 7.5, till 7:30 this morning. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 226, -106 to the under. It got down to the first move was to the over 226.5. Then it got down to 225. Back up 226.5. It's right where it started now at 226. Let's take a look at the cash flow. 5,207 tickets in. 35% of the tickets and 61% of the cash is on the Knicks. But a move half point towards the dog. Then 55% of tickets, 55% cash on the over. The pace for the Hornets is somewhat quick, 103.5 possessions a game, while the Knicks are down to 99.38 possessions a game. One thing Dan Kelly wanting to add, he says, another new thing I've noticed the books are doing this year, live betting early in the game, the line would move quite a bit and you could get an advantage, no more. A dog goes up 10 early in the first quarter and the line barely moves off the closing line.
I saw that in football. I was actually in a sports group while the games were going on. I believe it was the Tampa Bay game. And yeah, Dan's right about that. Dan's absolutely right about that.
Wow. Mitch Fearing jumped on Charlotte +8. Rozier being out is the best thing for this Hornets team. Now those 25 missed shots can be spread around to better scores. Very interesting take from Mitch. Let's break this down. Hornets come in off that impressive 126-109 win at Atlanta on Sunday night. They're a rested group. And they've had some players step up. Nick Richards, backup center, went 9 for 9 from the field, 20 points and 11 boards in 20 minutes off the bench. And we talked about the bench just beating up on the Hawks bench. Oubre went for 24. Knicks come in off their second straight win, 115-102 at home over the Magic. They've looked quite good so far this year. Jalen going 17.7 and 7 assists. Randall, 21.3 and 9.7 boards. LaMelo will be back soon. Terry Rozier, doubtful. And Cody Martin out indefinitely. LaMelo, won't play against the Knicks on Wednesday for sure, but we'll see when he comes back. So it's Dennis Smith Jr. getting a chance to resurrect his career. The Knicks only are out Quentin Grimes. Take it away here for us, Daryl. Hornets, Knicks.
I don't give a fucking shit about this game. I do. I can give two shits, Jimmy. For real. For what it's worth, New York's 3-0 ATS. And I mean, they are beating teams, covering those spreads, and they're bad teams. You beat Orlando. Okay. You beat Detroit. You cover that by 17. Okay. You lose to Memphis in overtime, but you cover that spread. Okay. All right. I'm just not there yet. I was looking at Evan Fournier's props because he can hit some threes. Those are juiced. Didn't want to touch it. So this is a team right now that I don't have any interest in playing until I see Charlotte at full strength. I just think it's a toss-up at this point. So for me, it was a pass on this game. I don't have a play.
I understand that. It's very hard to take a basketball team like the Knicks as this big of a favorite here and trust it.
8 points? 8 fucking points?
Yeah.
I mean, they're supposed to be bad teams and they're doing that, right? So that's fine. We get it. We all fucking get it. But Charlotte just slapped the shit out of Atlanta. We didn't see that coming. And so now New York's got to cover 8 points. I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I'd rather just chill for a minute and see how these teams play out.
Well, let's move on to a very big early season basketball game. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers 1-3, 0-1 on the road at Toronto Raptors 2-2, 1-0 at home. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. These two teams have been playing very slowly. Philadelphia 95 possessions a game. Toronto 96.63 possessions a game. Toronto opened up as a 1-point home dog. They're now 2-point home dogs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 215.5 and has dropped to 212.5. It did drop to 212. There's been a half point of buyback. This line came out this morning at 7:32 a.m. and the first move was to the over, which surprises me watching the pace. Got up to 216 and then it started dropping quickly and then it felt like it was too low. But that under is juiced pretty heavy at Pinnacle at -112. Let's take a look at the cash flow here in this one. We have the 6,544 tickets in, 69% of tickets, 77% of cash on the Sixers. Then 57% of the tickets and 66% of cash on the under and moving in that direction. Bo Jackson's Raptors will play Philly on Friday at home again. Justin says best bet of the day is the Toronto-Philadelphia under. Billy Friedrich says first half and full game under even after the line movement. Coin leaning to Toronto +2 says Sixers struggle in the 6.
Yeah, they do, man.
Spenny says Siakam triple-double small play. Sixers picked up their first win of the season in a 120-106 home victory over the Pacers on Monday night. They led by up to 20, and then the Pacers made a late run, but it wasn't enough. Philadelphia's bench, 36 points. The reason why it's worth talking about is because Philly's bench had put up 34 points combined in the first 3 games. They've done absolutely nothing. So the bench showed something. Raptors coming off a 98-90 win at Miami on Monday night. They'd lost to Miami on Saturday. And Precious Achiuwa in the rematch, 22 rebounds. Now, obviously, Scotty Barnes, right ankle sprain, when she's out, Achiuwa eats. But that was, I love Achiuwa. He's become such a fan favorite up here.
Right.
Van Fleet, 24 points. A nurse has been trying to get him to shoot more. Chris Boucher returned, and we need him. He put up 10 off the bench. He'll get more run. Otto Porter still doubtful. We're waiting for him to make a season debut. And for the Sixers, DeAnthony Melton is questionable. Take it away here. Big game, Sixers Raps.
Yeah, this is another game that I did pass on because I'm really trying to figure out this Philly team, right? So my head tells me right now that Toronto should win this game. These guys are just gritty, man. They do have big, long defenders, right? Between OG Anunoby and Piasca, I call him Pissat Siakam, and Christian Koloko. I mean, these guys are just long. So for them to be able to clog the paint, if Embiid is going to come in and try to play in the paint, they're going to be able to defend that to a certain degree. Now, if Embiid is playing motivated, nobody's going to stop Embiid. But I'm just seeing a lot of problems on this Philly offense, to be honest with you. If Morey is trying to make this look like Houston Rockets basketball, he's doing a good job at it because that's exactly what it's looking like. You got a lot of ISO play on Harden's end. He's doing a lot of dribbling. I'm seeing PJ Tucker do absolutely nothing right now. I mean, he goes to the corner and just puts his hands on his knees. They don't even run toward him. He plays on the weak side, right? Like all the plays are ran the other way. So I just honestly don't see what Philly's identity is right now. It's obvious that Embiid doesn't like this style of ball that's being played right now, and the record kind of shows that. So I don't know what's going on with Philly, and to me, Toronto should beat them. And for them to be home dogs is kind of crazy to me. So it was a game to where when I looked at the line itself kind of scared me off, if you will. With Philly is playing as bad as they are, not really having an identity, and with the players that they have on that team that should be able to route teams in and out, there's no way in the world I could just try to play this game and get an accurate look on it. So right now it's a no play for me until I see some more Philly games.
I know what I'm a little concerned about this game going down right to the wire.
Why would it?
Because the Raptors are not in a rhythm with the injuries they have. So they're not in a rhythm with their bench play. We don't know if Barnes is going to be in the lineup. And if he is in the lineup, how much run he'll get if he's dealing with an ankle sprain.
I wouldn't put him in. So maybe that's why the line is where it's at. But I wouldn't play Barnes right now. I mean, that injury was bad. Some videos came out that showed that was kind of, who was that went under him?
He buckled, yeah.
Yeah, that it was just kind of a dirty play. That's just something you don't do. So I get your point. I would still think Toronto could win this game, but just the line itself, that I Philly not really having an identity, in my opinion, right now. I just had to stay off of it.
I'm going to move on the first half under 109. Ski got in at a great time with that 215.5, pounced at the perfect spot. We have Dan Kelly on Raptors first quarter, first half. A bet I love, but I just, we played the Heat. We care very much about playing the Heat. We care very much about playing the Sixers. I don't think there'll be a letdown, but I still need to watch more of this rotation with the injuries, with Boucher coming back and trying to find time for Kem Birch. So Billy Brisbane says only take Philly first quarter, first half when they're at home. I like the look of the Raps first quarter, first half, but I'm going to stick with the knowing that there'll be defensive intensity early, and I just don't want to be sitting there and be right and have some late hijinks with foul shooting or possible overtime get in the way of my cash. So that's my first official play. I'm gonna be on the first half under. It's 109 right now at Bet365, and I love Dan's look and I love Ski's look. Fanatical Jim on Embiid under 12.5 boards. Sky Dragon on Embiid under, and the Raptors money line says Raps will stop Embiid. Sky Dragon saying Maxey is being useless. What do you think of the start of the year for him?
I mean, I just don't. That whole offensive scheme, what they've got going, it's no identity right now. It's none. Now, if I'm right, Maxey went off in the preseason, right? And he thought he would get maybe a little more scoring out of him. Like I said, man, there's absolutely nothing that I see that gives me confidence that Philly can win this game with the way they're playing offensively. Just nothing. So I don't know if it's just them needing to kind of get into a little more rhythm or what, but I swear to God, man, all these guys are underperforming in my opinion.
Jared saying there won't be 109s in about a minute, and Dan Kelly saying go deeper and take that first quarter under as well.
Yeah, those unders look good, man. I couldn't knock it. I couldn't knock it at all. If you look at it, yeah, they're 1-3. Both teams are 1-3 to the under, or 1-3 over under.
And that game against the Heat on Saturday night, the Heat shot out of their minds to start that game off. Like the fact that the Raptors even were able to stay in. I mean, I think what was that first quarter? It was like 39-33 Heat. So the fact that it only ended 112-109 shows that these are defensive type teams. We have spreadsheet plays in from Ron Crawford. He's given us the St. Louis Blues, and he's given us the Orlando Magic at +8.5. Ron Crawford's action is in. Let me just make sure that I have it listed here under the Magic game. I love this. I love the opportunity. I mean, this is why we succeed. All these great cappers in the chat, and love knowing what Dan is on, what Dennis is on, what Ski's on, what Bender's on.
Absolutely.
Astute Chaos. I mean,
absolutely.
Elmont, Bo Jackson, Brizzy in the house, Brandon the Great. I mean, all of you guys, I just want to know what you're on. It helps us all so much. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play today, Magic +8.5. All right.
Yeah, man. It's a reason why I took these first halves, because I mean, that POD for Ron, that's why the Orlando can keep it close at the end, but that big disparity in numbers is that second quarter.
We have Matty Ice leaning heavy on Miami tonight, as well as Miami Portland over 219.5. We're going to get there. Let's roll on. James S., I missed your question. How did I miss it? I missed your question. So hit us again. I'm going to pop that in over the Miami game so that we can break that down. Let's keep rolling here. Where is that? Last game on the board, of course. Okay. There we go. And Lamont, like in Milwaukee, and the best bet, he's on Tampa Bay money line, expecting a bounce back from the Lightning. That's a tricky one. All right, we move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Brooklyn Nets 1-2, 0-1 on the road. Milwaukee Bucks 2-0, 1-0 at home. Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Last year, the Bucks at home would always step up against the best competition. They were just first quarter, first half beasts. If they were facing a team that was someone that they cared about beating, you could tell that they cared about their start this year. The 90-88 win at Philadelphia on Thursday was, they were the dogs in that game, and public and money was all over the Sixers, and they stepped up. Then they smashed Houston, and look at what Giannis is doing. Giannis in that game, 44 points and 12 boards, just absolute dominant in 28 minutes. Pace for Brooklyn, 98.5 possessions a game. Milwaukee, slower at 97 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one. Here we go. We have the Bucks opening up at -3.5, -105. That's where they stand right now, -3.5 and -106. It's a fishy line. From a total perspective, it opened at 233.5 and it's now at 231. Clearly, they put out a line thinking they're going to get a ton of Bucks action, and maybe it's the Nets who are going to step up here, and it's hard to trust them. But look, 75% of the tickets and 88% of cash are on the Bucks. So why would it not move off the 3.5? Why would they sit here saying, yeah, we'll take all your Bucks cash? 72% of tickets, 72% of cash on the under. Nets come in off their second loss in 3 games to start the year. 134-124 loss in Memphis on Monday night. Durant and Irving each scored 37, went for 28 of 44, and Ben Simmons fouled out for the second straight game. Milwaukee is 19-5 in their past 24 regular season meetings against these Brooklyn Nets. Bucks come in off that 125-105 home win at Houston on Saturday night. Nets are still dealing with Curry, TJ Warren, and Markieff Morris all out. And the Bucks have Chris Middleton and Pat Connaughton out. Take it away for us, Daryl. Nets, Bucks.
Quick question. Do you think that line is where it is? Because when you see the line go from 4 to 3.5, and it's obvious a huge amount of that side is on the Bucks, do you think the books are begging for you to take the Nets?
No, I think they're begging us to take the Bucks. Now at Pinnacle it didn't move at all. At Bet Online it opened at 3.5 and went down to 3, jumped to 4, in the back to 3.5. No, to me this is a line saying we're very comfortable taking all of the Bucks money.
Well, they took my money. I jumped on it early. I've got Bucks -4. Bucks only team in the league has played only 2 games. And what's happening right now in Brooklyn is, I don't think that Ben Simmons, Kyrie, and Durantula, I don't think there's a big rapport with those 3 guys, specifically those guys against Ben Simmons, right? Where there's a huge advantage for Milwaukee here are the rebounds. If you look at the numbers right now, their rebounds, they're averaging 10 more offensive rebounds than 10 more rebounds than the Brooklyn Nets. So this one here, I took the Bucks. A lot of people might be on the Nets. I see Ski taking the Nets as well, I believe. But I just had to go with what I think the better team is right now. So I do like Brooklyn, Milwaukee. I did step on them early. So Milwaukee -4 is what I got. Could come to bite me in the ass, but I just think Milwaukee's a better squad right now.
I agree. I agree that they're a better squad, but there's something. I just, when the books want us to do something,
yeah,
I would rather stay off than do it. The books are actively trying to beat us. They don't want 50-50 money. They're not looking to get it here. 88% of cash on the Bucks, and that Bucks money is just going to keep rolling in.
Mm-hmm.
I can completely understand why you're on the Bucks from a player personnel spot. And I mean, look at Skydragon. Skydragon says everyone's power ratings has Milwaukee ahead of Brooklyn, and Milwaukee's at home. If anything, it's cheap. I get it. But Ski Prof says I don't want to go against the rest advantage. If rest was even, I'd take the Nets to win. North Ender took the Nets +4 last night.
Oh,
the Nets
Ski,
+3.5.
I thought Ski said he took the Nets.
No, he said would have.
Yeah, I mean this is the only team that's played 2 games. Like maybe this will come back and the Bucks are playing a shit ton of games later. But I mean these guys are just getting warmed up, right? I went against them against Philly, and they showed out, right? So I just think we're talking about if the Milwaukee Bucks were healthy, they probably would have beat Boston, more than likely beat Boston, right? So it's just one of those things to where if I'm looking at a team who's a little more solidified, it's got to be the Milwaukee Bucks right now. There's kinks that Brooklyn has to work out, and Ben Simmons is not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I just like the Milwaukee Bucks. Seem a little more stable. Could just be an obvious line to where, like you said, they're begging you to take the Bucks here because the line's so short and watch the Nets come out and win. But I would have to see it first. So if I'm looking at either squad, I like the Bucks better.
Do you want to make this official?
I played it already, so it's an official play.
You have 3.5 at -1. There's a 3 now at 5.
Wow.
3. Do you want 3 at -120 or 3.5 at -106?
So what I'm going to do this year is play exactly what I played. Right. So do you have a 4?
Yes, I will get that. A question from Mike says, curious why you don't use the hockey money moves. We applied to MLB and Smash. Lots of Warriors last night, but money on Suns. Why no hockey factor? Just because I feel like I can beat hockey. I always have, and I don't need I don't need to know this stuff. I don't need why, if you're winning at something, why mess with it? And I have messed with hockey because I got off my puck lines and moved to -1s. Look, we'll see, Mike M, if it becomes something that I need to make a focal point on. But also hockey, it's a little different. We don't have as much action in. There's I don't find hockey tricky. I find hockey pretty simple. So, we'll see if that changes as we move on. Let's see here what we're getting for you on the -4. -4 is at +102.
That's right. I'm gonna play exactly what I played. So I just have, a better line here. But I played -4. I've got to stick with that number. I'm not gonna play a -4 that I've already put in a bet for, and then say, oh yeah, 3.5. But I'm just gonna play what I play as far now. If you're taking that and you're gonna tell me, of course you can take the 3 or 3.5. But I played the 4 already, so that's the number I'm gonna stick by.
$Bucks +102 -4. Yeah, I hear you, Ski, but I got down 23 units in NBA last year with my own, just doing my own, and then I went +40 units the rest of the year, focusing on the market moves. So it also helped that the cappers I had on the show were dynamite. You and Dutch destroyed it, but that was a huge swing. Ski, I mean, down 23 units to finish the year up 17. I mean, that's a huge swing. And look, I'm just trying to improve and get better. And I'm listening to you guys, and I'm working with you guys, and I'm just trying to improve every day. And so I'm trying to evolve, and I'm trying to get better. And
are you, Jimmy?
Jr. in the house? Oh, sorry.
I said, are you trying to get better?
I'm very much trying to get. Mike says, you really think they would tell us the numbers? I don't. Mike, that's the great thing about capping is you can just believe what you want. I mean, there's so many people who will just tell you that, the NBA is scripted and it's all fake. And God bless those guys. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, okay.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Indiana Pacers 1-3, 0-1 on the road at Chicago Bulls, 2-2, 1-1 at home. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Indiana pace a 103.13 possessions a game. Chicago at 100.63 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history for this one. The Bulls have been a very interesting team. 2-1-1 against the spread so far this year. They open up -7. They're now -7.5. From a totals perspective, opens up at 233.5. Now at 234. Let's move on to the cash flow here. We have 5,000. Remember, I told you there's two teams that Sports Insights has given full line value to, and we're still not there yet. 8,385 tickets in, 65% of tickets, 68% of cash on the Pacers. Does that mean that we're going to see Miles Turner out on the floor? I don't know if anyone has that information. Is the latest information. 44% of tickets and 77% of cash on the over. Pacers come in off their third loss in 4 games to start the year, 120-106 at the Sixers. Halliburton, 19 points, 10 assists. Jalen Smith, double-double, 17 and 10. Indiana, 42.2% shooting, and they went 12 of 44 from 3. Bulls snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 120-102 win at home over the Celtics. D-Row, 25, and Vooch, 18 and 23. And Zach LaVine, 19 points, playing the second game of the season after missing the first 2. So we know Lonzo's gone. We don't need to talk about him anymore. But Miles Turner, will he be making a season debut tonight? Take it away, Daryl.
You ready for this? You ready for this analysis?
Yeah.
Give me Indy and Chicago over 234. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Now being specific, it's not a spread, it's a total, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's just the confidence of this play here.
Yes, I get it. On Friday I cashed the Spurs Pacers total by 20 points. And also Wham used it in the friends and family parlay, which we cashed as well, just under 5-1. So I get it. Let's see what we can give you here on the total. Let me move over here. The best line we can get you on this total is, wow, it's flying up. Heritage just moved it to 235, but we can get you at 234 at Pinnacle, over 234 at minus 109, over 234 minus 109. Talk to us a little bit about this move.
Yeah, so to me, I was just looking at the numbers, right? Indy played Philly. Philly put up 120 points on them. They lost 106-120. Detroit, a game in which they won. Detroit put up 115 points, in which Indy scored 124. San Antonio, a game in which they lost, put up 137 points to their 134. And Washington, a game in which they lost, put up 114 points on Indy over their 107. Two of the games that went under were in the 220s. Two of the games that were in the over were in the 230s, 231 and 232. On Chicago's end, they beat Boston. They put up 120 points. They lost to Cleveland, which was their lowest scoring game. Totally get it. 96 points. They lost to Washington, but they put up 100. And they beat Miami, in which they put up 116. I do believe this is a spot to where there's just going to be scoring out the wazoo. Right. So if I'm just looking at this, you're not going to see any defense. I did see something that Miles Turner might be playing. It's going to take you a couple games to get your bearings together. So this was just one of those things where I looked at the totals and I said, okay, if they're really thinking after the game that Chicago played against Boston, where they only put up 102 points and that total was 225, that they're going to give you an extra 9 or 10 points here. This just seems like a spot to where this game is going to go way over. So I did jump on the over early. I do like it. There's absolutely going to be no defense played, so it's just one of those things to where it seems like a good spot to take this over now. And I don't really do totals. I didn't want to take a side, but I do like the over here.
You got it. Over 234 at minus 109. Part of the reason, and Ski nailed it too, he said that he would be on this if Turner's out. That's the reason why I was on it. I was like, you take Turner out of the paint, you got to make everything easier for both squads. Does that not come into play with your breakdown?
It definitely does, but I mean, he did have it. Did he? Somebody said he stepped on a Lego. He did step on a Lego, but he had injury in his feet, and I'm just under the impression that he is a talented player. I mean, I wish he would come over to the Lakers with Buddy Hield, right? But it's one of those things, in my opinion, to where there's just going to be a lot of scoring in place, regardless if he's in or not. He will help out a lot, but you're not going to stop DeMar from scoring, right? You're not going to stop Levine from scoring, and you're not going to stop Hallie or Hield from scoring. So it's just one of these things where I think they can trade buckets back and forth. That's why I like the over. So if Turner's in, he might put a stop to it. But with that total also kind of steaming upwards still, when you have insiders who know the information a lot earlier than I do, it's just kind of telling as well. So I do still like the over here.
I like it. You are locked in. Over 234 at minus 109 for you. And let's just take one last look at the cash there. 43% of tickets, 72% of cash on the over. So clearly sharp money on that over. All right, we move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. San Antonio Spurs 3-1, undefeated on the road. At the Minnesota Timberwolves 2-2, 1-2 at home. Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Spurs playing at a pace of 103.75 possessions a game, while Minnesota 102.82 possessions a game. Let's start with the line history here for the Spurs Wolves in their rematch. We have the Wolves opening up at minus 7.5. They're now minus 9. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 231. It's now 234.5. We take a look at the cash flow, and here you go. The Minnesota Timberwolves full line value, according to Sports Insights, 8,070 tickets in, 53% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the Timberwolves, then 78% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. Ski Profit Wolves, first half full game and under. And Sky Dragon says, "Go Vassal, go." That's a problem. Devin Vassal is doubtful.
Yeah, he's doubtful. He's doubtful
with a knee injury, and that is a problem. Also, the fact that the Spurs beat Minnesota here 2 nights ago, 115-106,
right,
is a problem. The Spurs have won 3 straight since an ugly season opening loss to Charlotte. We get to see what kind of heart this Wolves team has so early in the year. They've won 1 of 3 games at home and just lost to a Spurs team that's tanking. Crazy. Vassal had 23, Keldon Johnson 18. Karl Anthony Towns led the Wolves with 27 and 11. Russell 25, Noel 13. Ant goes for 9 points, just 9.
It's crazy.
Got to be a bounce back. And I like where North Ender's at with the Wolves first quarter, first half. I've always had the limit for first quarters at 2.5. I just don't want to take a favorite over 2.5. But I get why you're on North Ender. They've got to fight back, right?
They've got to.
Will
They've got
they?
to. So I didn't step on the side on this game. And there's a couple things that stick out to me as far as chemistry. Listening to some talking heads in the basketball world. Did you know that Ant-Man actually bulked up this year? So he put on like another 10 pounds, right? Did you see that that post presser after they lost against the Spurs, what Kat said about Ant, talking about you might think it's funny that he sent him here talking about Popeye's chicken, but that's not something I want to hear, right? Did you hear how Ant was really literally talking about how he's not even afraid of Gobert when Gobert wasn't his teammate? That the best rim protector that he felt that he played against was the unicorn himself, because he just could not get a layup, but no one's scared of Gobert. So I think just behind the scenes, as far as chemistry, they're really, really not there yet right now. They had no business losing to the San Antonio Spurs. No business, right? But here we are. The beginning of the season, these things happen. I did not step on a side on this game. I didn't want to touch it. What does seem automatic is we know that Minnesota is one of the highest scoring teams, if not the highest scoring team in the NBA. They are one of those teams that have been good first quarter, first half. But it's just, I still got to wait until I see a couple more games just to see if they kind of work that out. Ant-Man has been underwhelming, but he'll still get you 30 anytime, any day or night, you know? So it's just, do you want to gamble on that? Right. I'm not willing to do it just yet, but I did see something that's pretty consistent. The person I've seen that's real consistent right now is Jakob Poeltl. This guy is just about averaging a double-double in all of his games, right? Minnesota, 14-14. Philly, 12-13. Indy, 12-21. And then Charlotte, the first game, he went 9-14. 9-14. So this guy is going to get you boards and he's going to get points for you. So I decided to make a move. This is going to be my first official prop play, but I do like Jakob Poeltl over PRA 27.5. 27.5 over his points, rebounds, and assists. He does still get you assists. He might get you 2-3, but I think his rebounds and his points alone can get you there. So I do like Jakob Poeltl in this spot here to go over 27.5. Now, this might be a bad spot for them if Minnesota really comes out aggressive and motivated to beat the shit out of them, because Spurs really did get them. But just what I've seen as far as level of consistency and how he's playing against big men, Jakob Poeltl is that guy. So I do like his PRA over 27.5. That's where I took it.
You got it. You got the over 27.5. What was the juice associated with that?
I will tell you now.
Let me find this out. Okay. All right. So we have Durrell locking in with the over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This has moved to 9.5 at some books. And they're really expecting the Wolves to smash here.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Now the first quarter's moved to 3.5, but I can get in on the first half at 5.5. But then you're questioning, and people in the chat are questioning this Timberwolves team's maturity and how they're rolling together. Do you have any fear that the Wolves lay yet another egg?
That's why I didn't take a side. You just don't know, right? I'm not really smart enough to kind of gauge it at this point. at this very moment. So it's just one of those things where I'm going to look at who's been consistent, which has been Jakob Poeltl in all these games that he's played, not specifically against Minnesota, but I'm just saying in what he's done this year against all the teams that he played, Jakob Poeltl has been consistent.
Yeah,
It's just one of those things to where if he has a moment, he could get it against Minnesota. There's just something not right. Something's not right about this squad. So if it is a chemistry, so be it. Maybe they'll get it together later. But right now, this should be a blowout by Minnesota. Let me state that. This should be a blowout. This should be a trifecta spot for Minnesota because of how they got embarrassed by San Antonio. And San Antonio is supposed to be in this Wembanyama sweepstakes. But I just don't know. To make a long answer short, I don't know about this squad just yet.
Very, very, very interesting. Top Shelf is taking the Wolves first half team total over. Says he saw Wolves going to kill him. And also Rudy Gobert over in rebounds too. Mike looking at an under spot here. All right. Okay. Alex says should have been a blowout last time also. I'm certainly not going to move too heavy on the Wolves, but again, this is a spot where maybe I'm just too late now. Let's just see what could I have got the first half at. Let me just move over to Bet365. First half line history. It opened at 5 at 1:55 this morning, and it lasted there for 28 minutes. So I don't need to be too angry about the 5.5.
I mean, Finch is a great coach, right? And Pop is a great coach, Hall of Fame coach. But Pop is dealing with, I believe, the youngest team in the NBA right now, age-wise. I believe San Antonio has the youngest squad in all of NBA. Somebody can check me on that.
Yeah, that's facts. It's facts.
Yeah, so Minnesota should be able to exploit that and take advantage of this team being young and inexperienced. So, like I said, it should be a blowout. But things have been happening already that's got me on the trickeration meter. Like, whoa, this shit should not be happening, and it is already. So, I don't know how to gauge them just yet. Best of luck to anybody taking their sides, but I just like Jakob being as consistent as he is right now.
Yeah, North End. That was a hard one to get, though, popping off so early in the morning. All right, I like it. So we have looks. Also, we have a look from Dan Kelly's on the fourth quarter over 56 in the Pacers Bulls. There it is, right there. Nice we have basketball back. Feels so good.
Oh man, all these different.
So all is right.
Yeah,
all is right in the world. We got all right, going at 9 p.m. Eastern. Houston Rockets 1-3, 0-2 on the road at Utah Jazz. 3-1, 1-0 at home. Vivint Arena, Salt Lake City, Utah. Both teams playing at a similar pace, just a little over 101 possessions a game. Rockets coming in off their first win of the season, and these Jazz coming off their first loss of the season. Okay, let's take a look at the line history here. This one is interesting. They just faced each other, and in a very similar situation that would not, I guess it's not similar because you have two teams that we expected to be weak.
Yeah.
But the Jazz are sitting as 7.5-point favorites. This opened at 5 at Pinnacle, and now at 7.5. So the market clearly believing that these teams that lost, who are having the second opportunity at home against the team that they lost to, are going to smash. This total opened up at 232.5. It's now at 233. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 5,787 tickets in. 75% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on the Utah Jazz. And then 64% of the tickets, 58% of cash on the under. So there are some bigger bets coming in on the over. Ski Profit is on the Jazz and the under.
Oh, wow.
That one. I wonder, and Noli was on the under in that Wolves game.
Make unders great again.
I hate going back to that Wolves game again, but do you think that the Wolves might really step up defensively out of anger, or are they just not that type of basketball team?
Nah, man. I mean, you don't know what they're like Cracker Jacks, bro. You don't know what you're going to get at the bottom of that box. As of this moment, this could just be me talking shit, right? But they should not have dismantled that team the way they did. Like, I'm a big fan of Malik Beasley. I'm a big fan of Jared Vanderbilt. And these were pieces that could help you. But, I mean, there's just no chemistry right now. None at all. None at all. And so when you got your star players talking shit on each other, I just think that translates onto the court. And that's what you're seeing happening. So I can't give you a confident side that they're just going to come out and be mean and gritty. Not at this point. It's too early in the season.
Yeah, a lot to learn. We're going to learn a lot about both of the teams that lost 2 nights ago. Here's another one. Jazz lose 114-108 to these Rockets on Monday night. And that one was in Houston? Sorry, I have that written here in Houston. I thought they were both playing in
No,
it wasn't
that was against Utah. That was in Houston.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Rockets coming off their first win of the season over these Jazz. What's wrong with me? Okay. So Rockets and Jazz played on Monday night in Utah. Rockets win 114-108. Utah at least will have a day of rest coming into the rematch. That was the second night of a road back-to-back. That began Sunday in New Orleans. Maybe I'm off.
Utah's played 3 games on the road already. So this will be their 4th game on the road. They had 1 game at home, which was their opener against Denver.
Okay.
They were at Minnesota, at Nolens, and at Houston. They'll play this game again.
Okay, I feel you. That's where I'm. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get back at this here. Clarkson went for 17. Lauri Markkanen 0 for 6 from 3. Vanderbilt 11 boards. Olenek 9 boards. Jazz got off to a slow start. 18 points in the first quarter, just 45 at halftime. And Hardy was talking about how they're tired. They look tired. They're tired. Kevin Porter Jr. led Houston with 26 points and 10 boards. And it was in Houston. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Houston. Thank you. So Rockets, Jayshawn Tate, we thought he might make a season debut tonight. He's questionable on the injury report, so I'm not sure if he will be in. And the Turkish 6'10" big man, Sengun, is not going to play tonight. He's sick, so he won't be in the lineup tonight. Rockets, Jazz, we looked at the cash flow. We looked at the all over 93% of the cash on the Jazz. How are you moving on this one, Daryl? Take it away.
I'm not moving. I'm not moving shit. I'm not going to move on this game at all. I don't know how to gauge it. I mean, Utah's still been playing pretty good as far as how they're playing, and they're winning games. This was I did see someone said that Pop isn't going to tank, and he's right. Pop's got a lot of pride, but this was supposed to be the one French guy out, another French guy coming in, and Wembanyama sweepstakes, right? They got ready to go Bear. And you would think this team would be tanking to get another French guy in Wembanyama. But this game should obviously be a Jazz game, but it's just not enough for me to get there with them right now. I don't know. I know there was a little bit of issue with, I want to say it was Jabari and Jalen, right? They got into a little, not really scuffle, but a little argument there on the bench. This is one of those things to where personally, I can't bet against or bet on teams that I don't think are really good. So even though Utah's record does show differently, I still think this is a team that is not supposed to be winning games. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets did come out here and cover, but I don't want to play it, so I did not.
Yeah, there's some interesting points here with the chemistry that Houston is building. And I know you talked about the issue with Jabari, but I wonder if, look, I'm not going to go up against 93% cash, but I don't want to be on it either. If once we get more comfortable into the season, obviously there's some moves that need to be made the night before. But at this point, I don't know if I want Jazz at this price. DC Capper's on Utah -7.5 and the under at 233. Look, I get why anybody would want to back the Wolves and Jazz after losing to the team they're playing. I get it. But at this point, with the market moving so quickly in their direction, I don't know if I want to get in. Rockets, Jazz, no move. Top Shelf says Jazz going to be one of the worst teams in the league soon. Tonight.
Maybe that's what it is. I mean, you 3-1. I mean, Jesus, the
Wow.
fuck is going on?
There
didn't
is
see that coming.
DJ, Big Boss, and Ski Profit saying yes, the Wolves will step up on D, especially with no Vassal.
No
Jake
Devin.
Burns says, why not take a shot at Rockets money line? They just beat them.
That's brutal.
Dan Kelly says you could see the elevation affecting Houston tonight. You could see the elevation affecting Houston tonight. That's an interesting take as well. So maybe it's a live bet spot. Mike says fade the steam, Jimmy. I don't have the balls to do that this early in the season, but I can understand why someone would. And Dennis Garcia has done a great job at fading the steam in certain situations. It takes a lot of balls. Let's move on to the Lakers.
I need to make a correction. I'm sorry. I said this would be the Jazz's fourth game. They're away game. They're obviously playing at home. I didn't see that. So I need to make that correction.
Well, it's all good, man. We want to hear you talk about your Lakers. 0-3,
no, you don't.
On the road.
No, you don't, Jimmy.
2-2-1 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. The Lakers are flying up and down the court. 106.67 possessions a game. You might think to yourself, why would such an old team sprint up and down the court? Well, it's not working. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. We have the Nuggets opening up at -6.5. They're now -5.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 227.5. It's now 229.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 10,642 tickets in. And the bigger bets are coming in on the Lakers. 36% of tickets, 60% of cash. Then 76% of tickets, 83% of cash is on the over. Russell Westbrook doubtful with a hamstring injury. Denver playing at a pace of 102.25 possessions, about 4.5 possessions slower than the Lakers. Lakers coming off their third straight loss, 106-104 at home versus the Blazers on Sunday night. Nuggets also coming off a loss to the Blazers. This one happened in Portland on Monday night, 135-110. The Blazers went for 44 in the third, 80 in the second half. And also, Michael Porter Jr. listed as questionable. It might be a injury maintenance day for him. Porter is 16 of 32 from three-point range and looking strong defensively. Lakers, Nuggets. Dan Kelly says if Russ is out, is the play LA? Ski Profit on the Lakers +6 and Jokic under 26.5. Viper putting some beer money on the LeBron triple-double. Northander says, I want the Lakers +5.5. Says, please be out, Russ. And Winetime saying Russ not playing. Lakers might actually win. Billy Friedrich saying, I'm going back to that angle that worked last season versus Lakers. Fade them in the third quarter. He's on the Nuggets -1.5 third quarter. Take it away for us, Daryl. Lakers, Nuggets.
Yeah. So my notes say Lakers, Denver, do not play this fucking shit.
Oh no.
That's what my notes say. Being a homer and just being, just listening to different groups and different guys that I respect, highly respect in this game, that knows this game a lot better than I do. The Lakers is the side today. The Lakers is definitely the side. Denver lost to Utah. They got smacked by Utah. Denver lost to fucking Portland. Now, we could talk about Portland and how good they're looking right now, but that's not a game you should be losing to either teams, in my opinion. Not with a team that's supposed to be at full strength. We know we're probably waiting for Jamal Murray to get his legs back and so forth. But those two games were scary to me. They were cringe to me. Now, on the flip side, I don't care what nobody's saying, man. Like, Lakers defense is all right. Their defense is all right to me, right? But obviously, you cannot make those outside shots. You saw the disrespect of Nurkic, where he wouldn't even go out and guard Russ, right? Like, they're just collapsing and saying they're daring you to shoot the outside shot. And that's what's killing us, the outside shot. So now you got Westbrook off the floor, right? Which might make a huge difference in this case for the Lakers, and it just might be the beginning of the end for Russell's time here in LA. Everything is telling me that this should be a Lakers spot, and it is. I just personally can't get there because I haven't seen a game like this with Russ completely off the court and how they play. Now the numbers back it up on how he plays off the court. Their defense is going to look a little better, and it's just the fact that Russ is making these stupid ass decisions, not wanting to go to the corner and let these plays develop. We'll see here. We will see here. In my opinion, the Lakers should outright win this game because of the losses that Denver has placed to teams that I think are bad. But we will see. So right now, do not play this fucking shit is what my notes say. I'm not going to play it, but this should be his Lakers spot.
Everybody in the chat saying that. Everybody in the chat saying that this feels like a Lakers spot. It's interesting, especially the Nuggets coming off getting lit up and smoked. That I guess is. Are we expecting no Michael Porter in the lineup? We expecting there's truth to the,
that could be the case. But so is there? Either he's out and there's money coming in on the Lakers. Reason why that moved. Or there's just a lot of money on the Lakers. But it would make a lot of sense now if there's a lot of money on that Lakers spread and he is coming out. That would make a lot of sense. Because I don't think, take the money aside, I don't know if Porter is worth a point. I could be wrong. He could be, right? But I don't know if he's worth a point if he's out. So if he is, and so be it. That maybe what it is here is there's a lot of money that's coming in on the Lakers. There'll be a lot of money that comes in, a lot of public money that comes in, probably on Denver, closer to tip-off. Maybe there'll be money that comes back in on Denver. But I just can't touch this game. Shout out to everybody who did and who is going to play this game. Like I said, sharp minds, people who I respect in this game and who knows this game a lot better than I do, are liking the Lakers. So you got to go there with them. If you like the Lakers, don't be afraid to pull the trigger on that game.
Yeah, sitting at +5.5. No Michael Porter Jr. I just hate that the Nuggets got beat by 25 points.
I know. They lost at Utah, right? Which was kind of a surprise for everybody. They beat Golden State and then they beat OKC and then get smacked at Portland. So it's just one of those things to where if the Nuggets are going to come out, they're going to come out early, right? And so maybe the motivation is for you to probably look at this and see if there's a live spread on this game, maybe get a larger number if you like the Lakers. But I'm scared to play it at this very moment. I'm going to heavily watch this game though. I'm going to be heavily invested in watching this game just to see just to see the body language of these guys and how they play with the rest off the court.
So Denver only beat the Thunder by 5 at home in their lone home game. Ski Prophet says Nuggets don't play defense. Machiavelli, our lawyer, says LeBron will have a big game without Westbrook, taking LeBron over 8 assists. Wow.
If these guys come out and ball, man, like I said, this could be the beginning of the end for Russ. You know what I'm saying? Like if they come out and ball and beat Denver at home, oof. Lakers Twitter they're gonna blow up, man. I'm telling you right now. Lakers Twitter is gonna be off the rails if they come out and win this game outright.
I'm interested. Will I get the 5 and a hook here if I move on it now? Yes.
Yeah, I can't. I'm scared, man, to play this game, and it's a lot better to watch the game when there's not money involved on it, because I do want to see how these guys respond to Russ not playing.
And if you guys remember last year, my highest team ROI was betting the Lakers. I was able to find my way with them. I think they are the play here.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are the play. I just can't get over the Nuggets losing by 25. I wonder if that's enough to keep me off here, but I do. Ski says he's going to go live if the Lakers win. Well, that will be fun. We'll keep an eye out for
that.
that.
Man. I have to get there. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, shit's wild. Shit is wild on Laker Twitter.
I'm interested in the Lakers here. Very interesting.
And you said there's a lot of people on. Are they taking Lakers money line, or they're just taking those points?
There's 28% of the money line tickets are on the Lakers and 70% of the cash. So big bets are coming in on the Lakers money line. 6% of the tickets and 60% of cash on the Lakers.
Now, what about the people in the chat? Are they on the Lakers money line, or are they just taking those points?
We have a few money line gamblers out there.
Wow.
For if we compare this to the other dogs on the card today, it's the same with the Magic on the money line. Just 10% of the tickets are on the Magic money line, but 61% of the cash. Same with the Pistons. 13% of the tickets are on the Pistons money line, but 48% of the cash. But I think that's more of a thing where you don't see the pros and the syndicates taking a minus 300 or minus 350 money line favorite. So I don't, and that's we don't talk about the money line numbers very often here, and I don't want them to kind of lead us into the wrong direction. But the Spurs have all the money line ticket, 14%, 60% cash. The Pacers. So I don't want that to get too caught up into that. But I'm interested. I'm very interested in the Lakers, and I think I will move with you guys. Let's talk about the final game on the card here, and it is our final spot where we have full line value. That full line value is on the Miami Heat. Miami Heat with full line value. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Miami opening up as a 1.5-point dog. They're now 2-point favorites. A huge move towards them. This total opened up at 222 and is down to 220. Let's see if the cash correlates with that. 39% of tickets, 66% of cash on the Heat. They've gone from dog to favorite. From a total perspective, 51% of tickets on the under and 45% of cash. So no real help here. Matty Ice says Miami and the over. He told us earlier on the show, he said leaning heavy on Miami tonight as well as the over 219.5. Alex Gagnon in the house says Lillard is rolling. Harold Williams says 4-1 yesterday in NBA. And Frank White says Hero will come to play tonight. Andrew G says Portland, stop winning. It's annoying. These teams are both playing at a slower pace. Miami, 98 possessions a game, while Portland, 99.17. Dan Kelly says the chart likes Miami first half. Let's talk about this. Set the table and have Daryl take it away. Heat coming up their third loss in 4 games, 98-90 at home to the Raptors on Monday after beating them 112-109 on Friday night. Jimmy Butler, 26-8. Hero, 22 and 15 boards. Butler, 23 points per game. Hero right there at 21. And Hero is averaging 8.8 boards per game. Shocking. He started all 4 games so far this year, 6th man of the year last year. Blazers have opened up the season 4-0. They come off beating up on the Nuggets on the second half of a back-to-back.
Right.
They beat them by 25. So Portland hasn't opened up the season 5-0 since Clyde the Glide Drexler in 1992-93. They opened up 8-0. Lillard missed 29 games last year with the abdominal injury, averaging 37.7 points over his last 3, 41 before hitting 31 against Denver, 41 before 31 against Denver. And Simons is just looking, 7-3, scores 29. In the third quarter, he scored 22 points and hit 6 threes. For the Blazers, Justice Winslow, right ankle sprain, questionable. He was held out of Monday's win. If he is, that Shadon and Nazir will get less run. And Heat have Oladipo out until November. Final game on the card. Take it away for us, Durrell. Heat, Blazers.
Yeah, this is a lean for me, so I may make this official, but I do like Miami here. Just a couple things that sticks out. For one, this is going to be Miami's first road game, I believe, right?
Yeah, let me pull that up here. This is, first road game.
First road game at that. The second thing, and what I do like about Miami, is they have a better point. They make more points in the first and second quarter than Portland. Where Portland comes alive, specifically this season, is their third quarter. So we were talking a lot about, the Warriors making those third quarter runs. That's what Portland does right now. Their highest scoring quarter is the third quarter. They put up, Miami puts up 29 to Portland's 28 in the first quarter on average. Miami puts up 27 to Portland's 24 points in the second quarter. Miami then puts up 26.8 points to 32 points for Portland in the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, Miami puts up 20 points to Portland's 30 points. In my opinion, this is a first half game. It's definitely a first half game if you're just going to go by averages alone. So I do like Miami here to get it done early, but what's going to happen and what has been the tendency to happen is Miami scores or Portland scores rather in those third and fourth quarters. That's where they get on fire. So whatever adjustments they're making, It seems to be working. They are undefeated. Now, mind you, this is another thing. Portland really hasn't played good teams, right? If we want to call Denver a good team, so be it. But besides that, they've played the Lakers. They've played Phoenix, which is a good team. So, I mean, they beat them in overtime. So we could say that, especially to what Phoenix did to Golden State yesterday. And they played Sacramento. So out of the teams, Denver, LA, and Sacramento, these teams might be underwhelming in comparison to what Miami has played right now. Miami's played Toronto twice, which is a good team in my opinion. They lost to Boston and they lost to Chicago. So if you're going to take Miami, take them early here, and that's a lean for me. It's going to be Miami first half. It's probably a pick 'em, but I would go money line here. But it's just a lean for me right now. Miami first half, money line, lean.
Huge move. What do you think about what Akbar and Dan are saying with Miami having Golden State on deck tomorrow?
Yeah, Golden State's in disarray. Like, one thing you're going to do with Golden State is run. There's a lot of scoring going on in Golden State. Now, for what it's worth, when we're talking about a trip from Portland to Golden State, you're on the plane for maybe an hour and a half, if that. So it's not like it is a back-to-back, if you will. So that does come into effect. But as far as the travel, I mean, it's not really long travel. You're up and then you're down, right back into your hotel room. So if you're going to go at Miami, maybe go at them early, like I would, and that's my lean. But I'm not really too concerned about them playing Golden State because Golden State has their own problems right now. They got a lot of problems going on over there. Right. And we're witnessing the regression of both Draymond that happened in the postseason last year and with Klay Thompson, who's so frustrated he got ejected. You know what I'm saying? These guys are just not where they are anymore. And so now you got a lot of young guys coming in trying to, get up to par with how the game is played. And there's a lot of scoring going on. So in my opinion, if you like Miami, take them early because you don't know what's going to happen in that third and fourth quarter. Maybe if they are losing third quarter that they just let up because they do have a back-to-back. But like I said, this is one of these things to where they're just going to get in the plane, be on the plane for about an hour, and then land.
I like the Miami look early. I think that makes sense. I think it correlates with what we've seen from these two squads. I guess I have a bit of a bias from that Saturday night game when Miami just shot the lights out in the first quarter, but they didn't look good in the second half, and they haven't looked good in the second half all year. Sitting at 1-3.
Huge point disparity when it comes to how Portland scores in the second half and how Miami scores in the second half.
And North Ender, yes, Portland is the public side here. You have 61% of the ticket, and we have 10,755 tickets, so we're not talking about a small number. 61% of the tickets are on Portland, but just 34% of the cash. And then the total's kind of up in the air, kind of a coin flip. All right. I've got action, and so does Durrell, and so do you guys. This is going to be a real fun night of NBA, but watch us and play poker with us while we're watching basketball. Let's play poker. Let's have a big night. Win on the felt, win on the hardwood. Let's do it like that. Let's review all NBA here, all NBA. First off, the NBA spreadsheet play today for Ron Crawford is Orlando plus 8.5. I had some interest in the Magic first quarter, but I think I have enough action. Durrell starts his card with the Cavs minus 4.5. Astute Chaos is on the Orlando Cleveland first half over 112.5. Remember that total went from 219 to 214. Durrell is on the Hawks first half minus 4 minus 110. I do have interest in the Hawks, but I have question marks around it. Nasty Nate said they scared. Nasty Nate is many nicknames. Mr.
Yeah.
Also the chip collector.
The chip collector.
Troy Torrance says I can't bet this travel spot with the Warriors on deck. I hear that.
Yeah, I was all on the Warriors. All on them. So from what I saw yesterday, man, like I need to get my shit together because these teams are not looking at like what they should. And it's early enough to where I can try to make these try to regroup and try to recalibrate shit. But I mean, I'm not liking what I'm seeing out of a lot of these teams. Now, maybe because it is early, right? And maybe these veteran teams just don't really care about how the season starts off and you got these young dogs who come out and play. So, yeah, The Warriors, there's a lot going on over there from what I saw yesterday.
Mike M has completely different numbers than Sports Insights. Again, with the cash and money. Again, I'm not saying one's better than the other. We don't really know, but one does cost $1,500 a year, and the other sites are free. You tend to think the one that's costs a lot of money would be more legitimate, but we don't really have proof of that. But let's keep rolling. Hornets, Knicks, we are off. I'm doubling up on first quarter and first half unders and Sixers Raptors. And let's see if the market has moved. Let's see if it has. Tell me it hasn't. Tell me it hasn't. Fuck, it has. That guy was right. That guy was right. Remember he said that 109 is not going to last long?
Where's it at?
Just 108.5. Fuck. All right. Durrell is on the Bucks -4 at +102. He went with the plus money there in Nets Bucks.
Yeah, that might bite me in the ass, man. I that's one pick that I'm afraid of now. I just got to go with my gut on that one because I did already play it. But
Durrell is on the over 234 at -109.
I don't give a fucking shit what the total is.
Oh, that's the yeah. Sorry, let's. All right. Then we have the total over 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -110. And I'm close to moving on the Wolves first half -5.5. Close. Then Rockets, Jazz, we are off. And I'm going to move on the Lakers, and I'm going to move on the Heat first half. So
really,
when it comes to 10 p.m., it's going to be real.
I'm so afraid, man. I'm so afraid.
Look, I get it. It's going to be a long season in Los Angeles, and hopefully there's one highlight, and it happens in Denver on Wednesday, October 26th. Let's hope that is it. Durrell, we've missed you so much. Follow our guy on Twitter at It's Durrell. He was a spectacular last year on the show. And still, no guest has hit 60% over a season-long sample size. And Dutch ended up at 59.8, I believe. And you were right there. I'd have to double-check, but I feel like you were at 58.9, which is phenomenal against the spread. I mean, professional gamblers would dream of that. Yeah,
it's early, man. Like I said, I'm in a slump right now, but I'll get into a rhythm. Just like anything else, man. Just give me a little bit of time. I promise you, we will be making money.
Myself because of my son. I was right, Rem. I told everybody, watch out if you're going to take the Oilers because Campbell Soup might not be in the net on the first of a double-double or a back-to-back. Wow. Thank God I did not bet the Oilers. Wow. All right, there you have it. That is our show. Let's review NHL very quickly before we put a bow on this. I'm on the Islanders -1 at +143, and that's it, and that's all. Spreadsheet play today's wrong. Crawford is on St. Louis now. That looks really, really good. And I'm off Lightning Anaheim. Mike, you're a good man. I would love to be at a casino with all of you guys. Hopefully we will soon. While we're not at a casino, at least we can play poker together tonight, so please join us there. Durrell, thank you so much. I'd like to get in touch with you to get you a consistent spot, because one thing I'm doing, Durrell, is anybody who does the basketball breakdowns on my show is not then going to be on NBA Pub Hub, because we want to have different looks from this show than NBA Pub Hub. So I'm working on that, which is a little tricky here. I love this. Rocco Rogers Skinner is starting in goal for the Oilers. So those of you with Oilers tickets, it's time to panic. Time to fucking panic. Durrell, any last words, my man, before we put a bow on this?
No, man, let's get it. Long season. We are just getting started, and let's make some money, man. Let's make some money.
Let's fucking go. On behalf of all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, thank you all. Danny Lopez, Mike, Bo Jackson, Alex Ramirez, North Ender, Matty Ice, Machiavelli back in action, Bo Jackson, Troy Torrance. What a great group. Rem Most, Alex Gagnon.
I missed them, man.
Yeah,
yeah, it's
fun.
been a long time. So everybody, man, it's a lot of names, but you boys have a day today, man. I hope you cash your tickets. Let's just break this fucking book's neck.
I love it. Isaiah B in the house. AOD, DC Capper, Top Shelf Plays, The Sweaty Butcher. NBA's back, baby. Jake Burns, all of you guys, thank you so much for your support. Please join us in poker tonight. But most importantly, Leche.
Leche.
Hey, those bookmakers!